Hey, New Life, just a quick touch base before we enter into a really big weekend this coming Sunday. And I want to touch specifically on giving you fully up to date information and insight before we move into the vote this coming Sunday. I'll get to that. But just first off, one is this coming Sunday is back to school bash weekend. Even if you don't have kids, please make sure you're there to cheer these kids on as they move up a grade. And we're going to be presenting Bibles. There's going to be music. Then there's a potluck afterwards. If you can and are able, would love for you to just bring a dish to share. I'll let you know. I graded about 18 pounds of cheese because I'm bringing 2 giant casserole dishes of baked macaroni and cheese because macaroni and cheese. It's awesome. So, and if you have kids that are going to be a part of this, would encourage you to bring extra clothes, a change of clothes, towels, some swimming goggles or something like that. If you've got them, might be good because there is going to be outside afterwards some flinging of food. So we'll just leave it at that. The ask went out this last Sunday. If you wouldn't mind, just grab some boxes or bags of generic spaghetti and boil up some spaghetti that you can bring, or even like powdered mashed potatoes, whatever you want to do. Again, something that out in the grass after service is going to be flung, and we want the kids to have a blast. And we will have a hose out there so that kids can be rinsed off. Thus, again, the towel and change of clothes. Also, as a reminder, this next Thursday, finally, we're able to go back to Union Rescue Mission and serve Dining with Dignity. So that'll be this next Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Or if you can come, even if it's a little bit after that, we would just love to have you come to be a part of that. I also, again, just want to celebrate the responses that we've had. The main leadership team member that's been receiving the commitments, as far as the one-time commitment as well as the 12-month commitment, has been out of town in Montana this past week. So the last update that we have is still awesome. And that is for our 10,000 one-time upfront goal. We have committed over $17,000. And that is just so encouraging and exciting. And it's not too late to be a part of that as we get this upfront lump sum to be able to do some things very quickly upfront to make this new building or whatever God has for us in the future just ours. So there's a lot that goes into that. And then as far as a 12-month, commitment of monthly giving, the commitments thus far that we've received total just under $12,000. We've got a little over $4,000 to goal to be able to reach our goal, but we can absolutely do that because that's only 3/4 of the families that are connected to New Life, that at least the last reporting that we have. And I shared this last weekend, and I'm going to be really clear. The reason and the motive is because I've been in roles inside church and outside church where I've witnessed leaders challenge people and call them to do something that they themselves were not willing to do. And so that's the only reason that I shared last Sunday, and I just want to share again because if you weren't there, that for our family, what we've decided is $500 towards the upfront one-time commitment, and then over the next 12 months, $8,000 a month. So total over about 12 months is right at $10,000. And again, for some of you, it's like there's no way you could even think to do that. And for others of you, it's like you could easily, you could just write a check for that. And then we've got a lot of people in between. The point of me sharing that is not to create any guilt or pressure or anything like that. It is only and purely to make sure that you know that we are in this with you and we believe in the vision and mission of our church and what God is doing and what he wants to do. So we have skin in the game. And we're so excited for those of you that have jumped in with us based on what God has put on in your hands, not someone else's. So again, it's not too late for us to continue to build up that war chest for the upfront amount of money, and then knowing that we can have margin over the next 12 months for sure as we do ministry and all that God is going to call us to do. Also, with the servant team, we have added 14 more individuals to our servant team. And I'm just so pumped to have you guys be a part of that. It's not too late. If you haven't had a chance to get on and watch the brief video and sign the document online, it's not too late to do that, but please do that by 5 o'clock tomorrow. The reason why is because there's a vote on Sunday and only servant team members can be a part of that vote. Now, the building. Here's what I want to update you with. The first thing is I just want to share with you very personally. When I first looked at this building on Oliver, just down the road from us, I'm just telling you, Like, I did not feel a real excitement about it. As I said, it was built in 1972. It looks like it was built in 72. There's like red carpet and pews and all that. And just, it doesn't look like they did anything really to update the building. And honestly, I mainly looked at the physical. I also looked at some of the things we would have to do with the space to be able to make it work and all that. I'll just be honest, like, I just wasn't super excited about it. In fact, I was pretty resistant to it. Brian Whalen on the leadership team, on the other hand, like he was in a very different place. In fact, talk to him. He'll tell you he essentially had kind of a spiritual experience in the building. Like, he just saw all of what could be and what could happen and what we could do. And we could do this and this and this to really make the space our own. It's just like, I wasn't there. And at the beginning, I was resistant. Plus, I knew the money we would have to put into the building to be able to get it, up to where we needed it to be. But honestly, the fact is, it didn't matter where we were going to go. We were going to have to put some money into a building to make it ours. So, and then this past week, in my own personal time, and there's been things happening before this, but something that really kind of tipped the scales for me was in my own personal time in the Word. I was in the book of Romans, and Romans 8:28 says this. Paul writes to these Christians in Rome, says, "We know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him and who have been called according to his purpose." And in the context of reading this and part of what I was studying, it was really focused on the concept of transition. And as a church, this is a significant moment of transition. And as I just took some time to reflect and ponder on this, the thing that really stood out to me is that God's most teachable moments for all of us individually as God followers are in moments of transition. When you look at the Old and the New Testament, where God does his greatest works, it is always in moments of transition. And all of these transitions, what they all have in common is not just God's calling, but the willingness of the individual to take a step where there's not full clarity. In fact, in some, there was no clarity at all. But God just saying, hey, I want you to go here, go to this land, go to this place. I want you to do this. I want you to talk to this king. And it always tested the fear level. It became a test of faith and trust. And the thing that really just settled in with me with everything that's been going on behind the scenes is that it was just reinforced for me that we are in transition no matter what. But the thing is, God is in it. God is in this transition, and he wants to do something in us and through us. And the thing that is consistent when it comes to transitions is that God always has a bigger plan that we can't see. He has something more in mind than just us. And every major movement of God, when you study history, happened in a moment of transition. And so that, on top of everything that I've experienced behind the scenes, it's just built a level of anticipation and excitement. So just to share with you some things where God has been working in and working on and revealing things to me. And again, I've got notes I keep looking down here because I want to stay focused. But the whole experience that I've had with your directional leadership team of New Life has just been fantastic. Everything from their wise caution and even pushback to their passion and push forward. But the thing that has become crystal clear and just being reinforced is the passion of each man and woman's their passion for the vision of New Life, the mission of the local church and of our church and what could be. And for several, it's just like, let's do this. Like, God, we've been praying, and God's opened this door. And then there's all these other little factors that seem to reinforce it. So just the interaction with the team, being, all over the range on this, and just, again, hearing their hearts has just been reinforcing for me, and ultimately how I'm going to vote. I had lunch yesterday with the owner of the property. His name is Charles. And it was a fantastic lunch. And the curiosity and the hunger that he had in asking me questions about my faith journey and about church. And the thing that I discovered in this lunch is Charles is exactly the type of individual that we as a church are trying to reach. He actually grew up in a very religious situation. And in the end, he walked away from his faith. And he would identify as a nun, a no religious affiliation, and agnostic. And I don't want to share any more details, but I'm listening to him and going, oh my goodness. And I told him, like, we created New Life with people like you in mind, and I'm so glad to have this conversation. And then even before that, I had coffee with a young woman named Alex, who started actually about 10 or 11 years ago, the preschool, and she owns it, she runs it, that we would share this building with. And again, She grew up in a non-religious home, though interestingly was sent to Christian grade school and up through high school. And yet there was no religious practice at home. And she still honestly doesn't really know why. But again, as I'm talking with her, again, thinking this is exactly she and her family, she, her husband, and her 4 kids are exactly the kind of people we're trying to reach. And so there's just so much. But then out of this too, the other thing that just has struck me is the close proximity with a non-Christian preschool that honestly the families, as I listen, reflect her family. These are exactly the people we're trying to reach, and sharing the same building with them, being in proximity with them, and all we could do to invite them to be a part of and serve them and serve the teachers and the staff. And like, it's just such incredible opportunity. And then as I listen to her and the owner of the building talk about the houses and the neighbors and the people in that neighborhood right around that building, it built like, oh, this really could be awesome. And then there's the tangible facts, of the building, having 7-day-a-week access, a space that we can brand and make our own and not have to set up and tear down every week, and beyond that though, but really to make it our own. And the paint, the colors, the design, we've got busy street visibility right off of Oliver. It's clearly a church. There's easy access to it. The giant fenced-in playground that's in excellent condition. We have so many families and the families that we're going to reach. And having the parking lot on the east side of the building rather than right alongside the busy road, which again makes it access better. And then if we want to do outdoor events, feeling like you're more in the neighborhood and you're not right on that busy street and being afraid of kids, being harmed or running in the street. But then there's been a couple of affirmations that, for me, I see them as affirmations. We had shared a while back about how Riverlawn Christian Church already has committed $3,500 towards us if we move to this property, as well as they're taking before their elders a proposal of sending on mission 12 to 15 Riverlawn families to come partner with New Life at least for a year, if not 2 years, and basically become a part of our church. So they wouldn't leave Riverlawn, but they would come to serve and just enmesh themselves in our community and be hands-on helpers in our ministry with kids and teens and music and all that. And then some of you may have seen it on social media or you didn't see it, but Christ Church this last week, I got a call the first part of this week, and Christ Church has not only decided, their leadership, to gift New Life $5,000 just to use however we want with this effort and this transition, but they're going to provide hands-on skilled help. They have a facilities person that's going to meet with Brian, and they are going to rally skilled volunteers, whether it's with painting or building walls or whatever it is that we need to do, or cleaning. They're also planning on providing some food. Like, they just felt inspired. They love New Life. They know about us, they know of us, they know me, they know several of our people, and they're like, we just want to do we just feel led to be a part of what you're doing. And then there's going to be this ongoing relationship. So I'll just say with all of those things and so many more combined, and after tons and tons of prayer and processing and thinking, as a member of New Life, I'm just saying this, not as a leadership team, but just as a member, but having a lot more information and insight and experience, I'm going to vote yes. I'm going to vote yes that we make this move. And I'll tell you, for me, it's stretching. There's a part of it, it's pushing my courage level, because there's going to be changes. It's a time of transition. There's going to be challenges no matter where we go. And there's challenges where we are now, and there are going to be some challenges that we get to have the opportunity to face and overcome. But then there's just this part of me that I can't explain, where I sense this is the way God's leading, at least for me. So I just wanted you to know that as the first member of New Life before it was even New Life, and being here through the whole history and still being on fire for the vision and mission of our community and who we are and who God's made us and what God's coming. So I just wanted to share those facts with you. I wanted to share with you the personal feelings and thoughts and processes and the things that I sense where God's just kind of affirming, like, hey, you make this move. And I did not start out that way. I'm just letting you know. So God's brought me on a journey. And then there's also little things like we got word this week that they're going to take out that wall between where we have service and what we call our lobby and all that. That's going to become one giant room and all that here in the future. And there's been other things. Again, there's just been so many things like, okay, God's going like, okay, It's okay. I got you. I got a plan. I'm going ahead of you. Move. Because wherever we go, God's going to be there ahead of us. So be prepared. And just the last thing, if you haven't, again, done the servant team video and the covenant, but you want to be a part and you agree to that covenant and you meet those qualifications, then please go ahead and get online, do that by 5 o'clock tomorrow so you can be a part of our vote, because we're going to hand out ballots with names so that, again, we know each person is part of the servant team that is present. And by the way, you need to be present in the room for the vote to count. It's just the way our bylaws are structured. We can't do like digital or online votes or email votes. So be part of that. And one way or another, it's just going to be an exciting weekend. We've got part 2 of the Big Ten that we introduced this last week as we're diving in to the 10 Commandments, followed by kids' music, followed by food, followed by celebrating kids, moving up, and then some big messy fun outside for kids. Again, there will be a hose. So I've got a lot of anticipation for this coming Sunday. I want you to have that as well. I just wanted to make sure that you were fully informed on all these things. And again, to share some facts and details and just some personal musings and results of prayers from me as far as it concerns about this move, and to celebrate that God's inspiring other churches to come alongside us. And I don't believe this is going to be the last. So it's an awesome time to be a part of New Life. So be praying for us. Be praying for Sunday. Plan to come and just have a great time. Hope to see you then.